Hello, it's week 14 of season 4 of the Andy Griffith Show. This week's episode title is Andy and Opie's Pal. Barney, what's up this week?
Opie makes friends with a new boy in town, and this boy seems real impressed that Opie's tall as the sheriff. Meanwhile, Andy and I are in the courthouse, and I just finished getting another complaint from Gunner over the phone that he thinks there's swindling going on at Tierson's Sweet Shop. And I tell Andy, Thursday, Gunner bought 10 lucky tetraments, all white centers. Today he bought 12 more, again all white centers. Now Gunner ain't saying he expects to get the green one and win the flashlight right away. All he's saying is that in 22 he might expect to dive into one pink center and get a free one. And then Opie brings in his new friend. His name is Trey Doden. And Opie tells us all this stuff that he knows about Trey already. And he wants permission to have Trey spend the night. And Andy says okay, if it's okay with Trey's mother and with Aunt Dee. And then the boys leave. And that makes Andy and me remember that we started our friendship at a young age too. And I say, I couldn't wish them two boys anything better than that they should become as close of friends as you and me.
But then you remember something about a girl from June 23rd, 1952, a girl that both you and Andy knew, that Andy did or said something that made you real mad at the time. And first you say it's all forgotten, and then you get all mad again the more you think about it.
Then I get over it, and I sat her at Andy's house that night. And then the two boys are being real noisy upstairs. So Andy goes up, and they all start talking about going fishing on Saturday. And Andy says he'll lend Trey one of his fishing tools. And then he says Trey can come into his room to fall asleep. And then Opie sees his pa offer Trey a glass of milk and a piece of pie.
So Opie goes to sleep, and the next morning you come over, and Andy and Trey are already up, and you describe the breakfast you just had.
Yeah, I say, I had orange juice, cereal, 3 eggs basted, sausages, whole wheat toast, cottage fried potatoes, and coffee.
And then you try to demonstrate your gun drawing skills to Trey, but you shoot the gun off in your holster on accident. So Andy makes you give him your gun and tells you to go wait in the car.
And then Andy lets Trey hold the gun, and he shows him how to use the sight. And Opie comes up and sees this going on. So later that day, Opie does all his chores in the courthouse real well, and he wants his pa's approval. But his pa just keeps talking about what a nice boy Trey is instead. And then Opie tries to change the fishing trip to just him, his pa, and me. But his pa says we don't want to forget about Trey. And then Trey comes to the courthouse, and Opie gets rid of him.
But Trey comes back when Opie's not looking, and Andy sees Trey and takes him out on lake patrol and leaves Opie. And Opie sees them drive off.
And then Trey shows up at football practice, and Opie tells him to go away, and they start fighting. And I pull up in the squad car, and I see the fight, and I put a stop to it, and I tell Opie I won't tell his pa that he was fighting with Trey, because then Opie wouldn't be allowed to play with Trey anymore.
But you don't see that's just what Opie wants you to do, because he's getting sick of Trey and all the attention he's getting. So then Opie comes in the courthouse with all these phony bandages on his face, saying he's been fighting with Trey, so his dad will make him not let Trey come fishing.
And then Andy says, okay, no Trey, and no Barney either. And I say, well, go off by yourselves then. I never wanted to come in the first place. You want to be alone, be alone. And I walk off. But then I find out Andy was doing that as an example to Opie about how hurtful it is to break a promise to a friend. So Opie invites me back, and then he invites Trey back. And the next day, getting ready for the fishing trip, I tell the boys, now boys, let me just give you advice on how you can stay friends from now on. Get things out in the open. You got something on your mind bothering you about the other fellow? Speak up. Get it out in the open.
And then you get mad, all mad again about that incident in 1952 about the girl. We'll see you next week for episode 15.